Hey. Hey, Manitoba, Canada. In the house. Yeah, Grover is not in his spot. Here. Hope everyone is doing great. How's everyone doing on this Wednesday? Hello. Ooh, I miss a good sub. Bill Purdue's and I have a sub for lunch. Do miss a good East Coast sub. Hey Erwin, what's up? Let's talk some money. Yeah, let's talk some taxes. Let's talk some saving money. Had a great discussion over lunch with my in-laws about how much money. They said, what's the show about today? I said, I'm talking cost segregation. And they said, you're not going to believe this, but that saved our bacon. They saved $57,000 because of their cost seg. What's up, buddy? What's up, doggy? You want to come up? Seem like you're playing, though. You don't want to sit. I know you and your rambunctious mood. All right, everybody, we're ready to rock and roll. We are. Let's make sure that's good. All right. Welcome into the Investing in Real Estate show. I'm Clayton Morris. So glad to have you here. On this show, we teach you how to become a more intelligent real estate investor specifically. But in order to become an intelligent real estate investor, you need to know all of the things surrounding it, not just the houses and where to buy great houses, but the taxes and making sure your liability is in place for your legal protection is in place, and making sure that you're thinking about putting a trust in place. All of those things need to be in place for you to become a well-rounded investor. And, there are many great options for real estate investors to save on taxes. We talk a lot about, buy until you die, making sure that you're acquiring assets so you can offset the income that you're receiving from those tenants, right? Because the moment you stop buying real estate is the moment that you actually start to pay income on those on the rent that's coming in from those tenants. But unless you're working with an amazing CPA, there are a lot of strategies that you might not have heard of. And you probably know about depreciation. But a cost segregation is an ultimate way for you to accelerate that depreciation and save on your taxes. So what exactly is a cost segregation analysis? Well, I'll give you the high level, and then we'll get into some nitty-gritty details about it. In a cost segregation study, the components that make up a property are thoroughly analyzed for the sole purpose of reclassifying these eligible items into different tax classifications. So I know it sounds a little technical, but just understand that that's why we hire a cost segregation engineer to come into the house and do this. So we'll get into the why right now. We'll get into some of the details of the cost seg in a moment. But why would you want someone to go into your house and to look at the different components of the house and divide them into different tax classifications, like the roof, different items on the sewage, the electrical work, other things like that? Why would you want those things broken down and separated on a cost segregation analysis? Well, instead of depreciating everything at the rate of 27.5 years, a cost segregation allows you to reclassify certain components of your property into smaller time frames, into smaller windows of time, 5, 7, or 15 years. What does this mean? Well, doing this can potentially save you thousands of dollars on your tax bill, depending on your unique situation. Again, as I just mentioned in our pre-show, I had lunch today with our with my in-laws, and they said, "What's the show about today?" And I said, "I'm going to be talking about cost segregation because it's such a really important part of your real estate investing journey." And they said, "You don't have to tell us. We just completed a cost segregation analysis. We just had ours done. And thanks to that cost segregation on our new construction property," they own a property in Lubbock, Texas, they were able to save $57,000 on their taxes because of that cost seg analysis. So depending on your situation, this can be very, very powerful. So let's dive into 4 types of investors who can benefit from a cost segregation. It's not everybody, okay? But there are 4 types of individuals that can really benefit. So let's start with high net worth individuals. High net worth individuals who need more tax write-offs, okay? They just, like if they've got a lot of assets, they need something to offset that income and assets. This is where cost segs would come into play. Perhaps you're a doctor, okay, and you've got a spouse who stays at home and doesn't work. Well, that spouse could become a real estate professional, enabling you to save thousands through your taxes. We'll get into all of that in a minute, but just know that high net worth individuals are always looking for ways to mitigate their tax burden, and this is a fantastic way to do that. Number 2 is those who would like to avoid paying high taxes. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a high net worth individual. It can be just someone who wants to avoid paying high taxes. Uncle Sam is, taking your money and spending it like crazy. And you might be sitting there saying to yourself, what do I get for paying all these high taxes in the United States? Am I getting great health care? The answer is no. America has literally some of the worst health care in the modern industrialized world. Am I getting great education with my tax dollars? No. America does not have the greatest education system in the world. And you might run down a list. What is America really good at spending tax money on? Who can tell me in the chat what America is excellent at spending tax money on? If you answer building missiles and aircraft for war and drones, then you're absolutely right. So you might be saying, I don't want my money going. I write this big tax check and I know it's literally going to buy bombers and aircraft. That's exactly where your money's going. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you have a moral reason to not want. Can you hear me coming out of me? Because that's how I feel about it. It absolutely chaps my ass. When I lived in Manhattan and I would walk by that national debt calculator, see it's up to $28 trillion or whatever, and knowing that I'm writing a check that's really going to hurt me to write this big ass tax check, and it's going to be spent by the federal government in the blink of an eye, and they're probably going to send it off to Boeing. Or they're going to probably send it off to Northrop Grumman or some other place. That's where my money's going. Anyway, can you tell how angry I get by this? Number 3, investors who need to offset capital gains. So if you have a lot of money that you're making from capital gains investments, like in the stock market, and you're making great profits, but you need a way to offset that, this is where a cost segregation analysis can really be a game changer for you. Real estate investors, number 4, who are buying at least one property per year. Real estate investors, okay, who are buying buying at least one property per year. Now, if that sounds like you in any of these 4, you might be wondering how to go about getting a cost segregation study. You're going to need, first of all, to hire an expert for this. A cost segregation engineer. They're like a specialized CPA with knowledge in this specific section of the tax code. Is it a good time to do a cost segregation study? Yes, it is. Just like when someone asks if it's a good time to invest in real estate, the answer is always yes. There is no better time to do a cost segregation analysis. Well, I should clarify that. Like if maybe you've got one property that you've owned for a number of years and you're wondering if you should do it now, or you're thinking about buying 5 other properties and you're going to have a bunch to do at one time, then a cost segregation engineer can fly to your town where those 5 houses are and do them all at one time. So yes, there maybe is some time to decide if you want to do it all at one time or spread it out. But specifically, there's a lot of talk right now about the Biden administration raising the capital gains rate and are doing away with the 1031 exchange. So if you think that you might need some tax savings, I would recommend looking into a cost segregation analysis and hiring a cost segregation engineer to do this. If you want to learn more about cost segregation studies, I can recommend a few resources here. First, I have a comprehensive blog post on our website All you need to do is go to morrisinvest.com, and here's our website. Just go to morrisinvest.com, and right at the top of the page, you'll notice that there is a blog. So just click on the blog, boom, and we've got full resources here on the website that breaks down everything you need to know about a cost segregation and what the power of a new construction rental property and how it can save you thousands. So again, click on the blog and go through this. You'll find the article right in here. We'll also have a link in the description for you as well, so you can take you right there. But this is our blog. We have a ton of great resources at morrisinvest.com. And if you'd rather chat with someone on the phone, one-on-one, you can talk to one of our team members. So while you're on the website, just click on the book a free call button. And one of our portfolio managers are specifically trained in cost segregation, so can totally help you get this set up. You can book a free call to get your questions answered, learn more about it, and to see if you're a good candidate for a cost segregation study. And again, we even offer brand new construction rental properties with a cost segregation study that's already built in. Right. So it's a hassle-free, done-for-you experience. So when you buy one of these new construction properties from our team, whether one of these brand new construction single families or duplexes, we've already done a cost segregation analysis for you for free. So we will give you that at closing. So that's part of our process. Normally it would cost a couple of $1,000s. We give it to you for free, and then you can use that cost segregation analysis for your taxes, to mitigate your taxes if you are one of these individuals that qualifies. So that is, nuts and bolts on why a cost segregation analysis can be so powerful. And if you have any questions about that, I would love to help you answer them. Please check out our other videos here that we have on the channel, where we walk you through in greater detail the cost segregation analysis and what that looks like becoming a real estate professional. All right, let me open it up for some Q&A here. I saw some good questions coming in here. Ken Davis says, Clayton, define high net worth. I'm retired, but best I can calculate, my wife and I have a joint net worth of about $2.5 million. Is that considered high net worth? We don't spend lots. Yes, you have to have at least 1 million in liquid assets. Ken. So again, remember, wealthy people, just, if you're sitting there saying, wow, wealthy people define their wealth by assets, right? By that balance sheet, by that, looking at your overall numbers and seeing liabilities versus assets. That's it. Does one way outweigh the other? And growing up, I was taught to think of like a paycheck, to think of like, how much money can I make from a paycheck? That's how wealthy I will be. And that's not at all the case, right? If we have the assets that provide passive income and cash flow, that's how we build true financial freedom. That's how you build true wealth. I'm sure you've been watching what's been going on with Elon Musk over the past week, right? He is in a battle sort of with Bernie Sanders and Democrats right now over taxes and paying his fair share of taxes. Well, the reason that he doesn't, quote unquote, pay his fair share of taxes is because he doesn't really make a salary. So any money he makes, he's just in stock options. So he just this week decided to sell a huge chunk of Tesla stock worth $4 billion to pay his fair share. He said, look, if I'm going to have to pay these taxes that you're talking about, I'm going to have to sell Tesla shares in order to, I don't have that money liquid. I don't have that money sitting there. And I don't take a salary. And so when people in Congress talk about taxing the wealthy, what they're talking about is taxing people who have a paycheck, people who make a lot of money at a paycheck job. They're not talking about taxing Elon. They're not talking about taxing Warren Buffett. What they're talking about taxing is the doctor who gets a paycheck from the hospital. And so, on paper, sure, it looks like they are high net worth, but the amount in taxes that they're paying is astronomical, while the person who's, a Wall Street investor, who's a real estate investor, is in a totally different tax game than the person who has a W-2 job. Just, that's just the way it is. And often those people that have the W-2 job are working so hard, so long, that they have terrible investments. And so they end up getting screwed. That's when Congress says we're going to tax the rich. That's what they're talking about. Let's see. Yeah. So then, Ken, you're in that position. I mean, you're in that high net worth spot to be able to take advantage of a cost segregation for sure. Bill Perdue says the military is where we spend our money. Exactly. Michael says wars. Yes, America loves war. I mean, I don't care where you are politically. It doesn't matter because Democrats and Republicans are basically one party, and they will continue this war machine. There's no debate when the defense budget comes up in Congress every year. There's there's very little dissent. It's voted on and passed, and no one talks about it. Just boom, 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 done. Because of all the lobbyists and all the money going out to companies like Boeing and Northrop Grumman and you name it, that's where your tax dollars go. And then we talk about not being able to have a good infrastructure in the United States. We can't have good health care in the U.S., and yet we can spend $750 billion a year bombing other countries. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat because the defense budget will never be shortened or lessened under either party. They both love it. They're both paid off by these lobbyists, and that's where they make their money. So understanding that, how do we just pay as little tax as possible to this corrupt government? I think the Fed that's my goal. I don't want them touching any of my money. And, but you should pay your taxes because it goes to support what? What? How please tell me. I'd love to know. Are we safer? No. We're like over 128th on the list of safe countries, so is it there to protect me because they're keeping me safe? No. Are kids in school getting great school lunches and great education and all? No. Healthcare? No. Food system in the United States is absolutely one of the worst in the world. So what are we paying our taxes for? Lining the pockets of these politicians and lining defense contractors' pockets as well. That's what we're paying this money for. And so, those few people can make billions of dollars while the rest of the people get screwed. So that's why we've got to be smart and navigate this system ourselves and give as little money as possible to these corrupt fools. Exactly. Bill Perdue says, so right, Clayton. Left wing and right wing are the exact same bird. Exactly. Let's see here. Shane Hernandez, wouldn't you have to show a loss on your business in order to get the cost seg tax break? If so, how do you buy more properties while showing a loss? No. Totally independent of a business loss, Shane. It's just you're accelerating the depreciation of that asset. That's all you're doing. And so you're able to get those items back on your taxes in whatever calendar year you've bought that, if you bought that new construction property. So the 5-year, 7-year, and 15-year timeframes on a cost seg. The benefit of new construction, Shane, also is that you're getting additional items that you can cost segregate. Because with new construction, there's road improvements. With road improvements, there's sewage improvements, there's land improvements that you get with a new construction build that you don't get with a renovated property. So, for instance, today at lunch, mother-in-law talking about she owns a rental property in Texas, a duplex in Texas, and it's been doing very well for them. And they got a cost segregation analysis upon closing. Yes, she's been working with our team. Our team takes great care of her. And they were provided a cost segregation analysis at closing as part of their purchase of the new construction duplex. They're able to use that, and they were able to get $57,000 in tax savings as a result of it. And so it has nothing to do with a company loss on a property or a business loss. It has nothing to do with that. Ken, let's be honest, the reason we invest in real estate is the politicians wrote the laws that we can also take advantage of. Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, I always say this, Ken, there's two tennis courts, okay? Maybe it's not the best metaphor. I don't know. There's two tennis courts, right? That you're going to go play tennis on, okay? One is already there, and it's built by Congress, and it has all sorts of tax advantages for real estate investors and business owners, right? And that's the tennis court that currently exists, okay? Or do you want to go play on a tennis court that doesn't exist? It hasn't, it's overgrown with grass. It's all broken up. And it's this sort of pie in the sky ideal of what our tax code should look like. It doesn't exist. I'm going to play on the tennis court that's already built. If they want to change some things, they want to change some rules, move a few lines, raise the net a little bit, lower the net, great. That's what I have to play on. Now I can fight like Bernie Sanders and other people and fight and fight and fight for this thing to change and the tennis court to change. Good luck. Good luck with that. There's a lot of things in the tax code that I think are absolutely ridiculous. But this is the tennis court that we have in front of us. So that's the one that I'm going to play on. And yes, Congress, they're real estate investors. They've written these tax laws over the years. Let's take advantage of them. I mean, that's why they're there right now. Sean Thompson, I don't know. You're asking about cost seg in Canada. I don't know for Canadian tax laws how that would work. But as a Canadian investor reporting income, you'd have to do that in the United States. So, right? So then this would benefit you for your United States taxes. Bill Perdue mentioning cheesesteaks, yeah. Hey, welcome from Maui is in the house. Am I saying that right? Yanea? Oh, Miami. I thought it said Maui. Sorry. Nevertheless, welcome from Miami. Ken Davis says we have to do our first single family eviction. Hate to, but it's our livelihood and we still have to pay the mortgage. Yeah. Fam Jackson, do you think it's worth getting a cost seg engineer if you buy a home that already exists? For sure. I mean, again, it just comes down to the numbers. Run the numbers on the property, and speak to the cost seg engineer on the phone. Just say, here's the house. I wonder if it makes sense, and they'll be honest with you because they have to travel there. They're not going to want to travel there if it's a waste of time. So talk to them about the numbers. The house is worth this amount. It has these improvements on it, and give them the lowdown. And they should be able to tell you whether or not it's worth it or not. Exactly, Bill. The tax code is written for investors. The tax code is written for entrepreneurs and investors that own businesses. The ultimate, of course, is a business owner that invests, right? If you think about Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, right? We want to be in the right side of that quadrant, which is B's and I's, business owner and investor, business owner and investor. That's where you want to be, on that side of the quadrant. And you want to be a business owner that invests. That way your investments help offset the gains from your business, and everyone wins. You're building a business, you're hiring individuals, you're, building homes, whatever it is your business is doing, hopefully adding to the economy, helping the country grow, create tax revenue from people purchasing or products, etc. Creating tax revenue, you're creating jobs, creating commerce. So that's why the tax code is written that way. Very little of the tax code is written for us to send money to the government. Most people think, they talk about it, they think about the tax code as like this thick. Very little of it has anything to do with us sending the government money. In fact, it's the opposite. It's filled with all sorts of tax incentives for us to keep more of our money in our pocket. Well, thank you guys. Again, if you have any questions about cost segregation, it's something that you really should pay attention to. It's funny, like my mother-in-law spoke with a person at the mortgage company and was talking to them about the cost segregation analysis, and the person didn't know what she was talking about. So, folks, because you're watching this show right now, you are way more ahead than a lot of other people on this topic. Literally, people who've worked in the mortgage industry for years might not have any idea what a cost segregation is. This is an incredibly powerful tax-saving tool. That's how we become smarter real estate investors. That's how we build intelligence, is by studying these things. Right? These are things you're not going to be taught in school. So we need to be taught these things in other ways. And I'm glad that you've taken some time out of your afternoon today to learn a little bit more about this process. It's been great hanging out with all of you. Again, if you're ready to take the plunge and become a real estate investor, our team at Morris Invest can help you do that. Just book a call with our team by going to morrisinvest.com, click on the book a call button, and we'll be happy to jump on the phone with you for 30 minutes. A little calendar will pop up so you pick the time, and then just make sure you put in the proper phone number because we're going to call you at that time. And it's on your calendar, and we'll call you and have a great conversation about real estate investing and your goals. That's what we love to do. So thank you, everyone, on this Wednesday. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and stay safe out there, everyone. We'll see you soon.